Greetings, YouTube. I was having a conversation with a friend the other day, and we stumbled upon the topic of rape apologists and the misogynists who invariably bring up the concept that men also suffer from rape. Now, this is a, a, a narrative that lots of folks who are bigoted will use. Well, sure, Group X suffers, but remember, white men suffer too. The concept that it seems to be impossible for them to hold inside their mind is that two groups can suffer simultaneously. And saying that Group Y suffers does not alleviate the suffrage of Group X. They're still suffering. Group X is still suffering. But they think that they bring up that Group Y also suffers, that somehow that erases and eradicates the fact that X suffers, except it doesn't. And when you bring up rape statistics, I have lost count of how many times men have told me, well, men get raped at higher proportions if you take into account our prison system. Now realize the prison system is an artificial environment. It is not out here in the real world. And out here in the real world, women are raped more than men. But I'm going to play along with this. So we fold in the men that are raped in prison because they are in that artificial environment. Okay? Now, if you do that, a lot of these misogynists and rape apologists will think they've won. But you take it one more step. Okay? You go into their narrative. Now you ask them a question. And you ask them, okay, who's doing the raping? And suddenly, it's crickets and tumbleweed. You don't get a response. Because either they didn't think about the entire process of that statement they used, or they want to ignore the fact that both out here in the real world and within the artificial environment of the prison system, the people doing the raping are men. Men raping women, men raping men. And if men would stop raping, a voluntary act on their part, the crime of rape would come to close to disappearing. Because while women do rape, it is in a tiny fraction of the rapes committed in the world. But men don't want to address that, particularly rape apologists and misogynists. They'll bring up the prison system because they think that means they've won the conversation. If they can convince you, you're right, men do get raped. Well, I guess that means that women don't get raped at all. No, that's not how it works. Just because you bring up the artificial environment of the prison system doesn't change the fact that out here in the real world, women are still raped. Heck, they're raped within the prison system. And the people doing the raping within both of these environments are men. And now I know I've said it before, and I'm going to say it right here now again. If men would stop raping, the crime would pretty much disappear. But they don't. And we need to make sure that the rape apologists and the misogynists never forget that the people doing the raping are men.